Wait, I can't hear you, bud. Sure.
Is that snowball picking up yet?
There you go. There you go.
There we go. All right, now we go. I'm just waiting on JK. I'm also I figured out what it was here. For some reason, it's on. Well, I need it to be on interview mode, but it is. I can't hear you, and you can't hear me before I press record. So
Got it.
this is recording. We're just gonna kind of let this record until,
Yeah.
and we'll pause it here in a second because I'm trying to configure you, because I know you've got some things that you want to share, your screen.
Yeah.
So
I do have a share screen button, just so you know, on here.
do that for a second. Let me see what that looks like.
All right. Let's see.
Okay, good.
Does that work?
You're sharing. I think you're sharing my screen.
Yeah, I am. Here you go, buddy. Here's the software. Does that look good
That's
while
perfect.
we're sharing? Okay.
So what I'll do is when that comes up, when you share it, I'll be able to just bounce it over there.
Perfect. Okay.
All right, let me give JK a ring real quick here.
Is Brad on too? By the way, I thought he was on.
Yeah, he's here.
Did he? He is
Can
here.
you
Okay.
guys hear me?
Yep. Can you hear
So
him,
what we?
Garrett?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. What we were
JK?
thinking is any questions about court, bankruptcy, the general process. Let's have Brad take those because he's the
Absolutely.
attorney. It'll be great. And then when we turn it to software and how it works and the benefits, I'll take those.
Cool. JK, are you there?
Yeah, it just keeps saying it's connecting. Hold on, let me try it again. I'm gonna try it again. This is okay. Join. Yep. And it shows my mug. It shows my mug at the bottom.
Okay, I got you now.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay. Are you seeing my screen? Are you seeing
No.
yourself on the screen?
I'm seeing myself. Yeah.
All right. You see JK?
Oh, look at that sexy man.
All right.
You got it, baby.
And there's Brad.
There's Brad the bouncer, dude, with your arms crossed, man. You look beastie.
Beastie. I like that.
All right. So okay. So all legal questions, anything legally related, will go to Brad.
Yeah.
And so we're going to just do this basically in interview format, kind of like what we did the other day, this part. So this is going to be the podcast version.
Okay.
And then after this, we'll go into a little bit of a breakdown of, okay, here's how you do this. Just some shorts, just maybe 2 or 3 shorts.
Okay.
And we'll use those as the early aspect of training videos. We'll share those. I'm going to share them on YouTube. I'm going to ad lib a few things here and there, but for the most part, they're going to be shared on YouTube and for training specifically for the software. Because I know
Okay.
it's really easy, and believe me, I've spent a few days trying to find ways to make this difficult, and I've been unsuccessful. So, all right. So I'm gonna pause this for a second. Now I'm just gonna kind of go right in. I'm gonna do just a little introduction real quick, and then pause, and then we'll go into it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is the Real Estate 360 podcast. Thank you for tuning in or watching wherever you're listening or watching at all. I appreciate you taking the time to spend this little bit of time with us. Now, today we're going to be talking about this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful software that we're applying in our business, and we're going to be sharing this with you so that you can apply it to your business. And it's all about buying bankruptcies, but it's about an easier way of buying bankruptcies, okay? Because if you've done this before, you know how difficult and time consuming it can be. So without further ado, we've got a few great guests that are going to be on today to share some information about this software that we're putting to work so that you can figure out how you can use it. And we're going to share with you how you can use that also in the description and at the end of this podcast. So stick with us, Real Estate 360, Jason O. Myles. I'll see you after this intro. Boom, 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 boom. And there's the music. It's going, it's going, it's going. All right. All right. Welcome back, everyone. This is your man, Jason Myles. And today I am here with a few people. Now I'm going to kind of introduce them a little bit, right? There's the handsome me. There's Brad. He's the lawyer. He's the legal beagle, right? So all of the legal beagle questions that we're going to go through today, he's going to be able to share that information with us. And this is Garrett. And Garrett is one of the designers and I don't know, the man with the plan, if you will, that came up with the idea. I'm sure it was a collective, but came up with the idea for this software that we're going to talk about today, and it's called Seek BK, okay? And then there is my business partner, Jehoshaphat Kennedy, as I like to call him, or JK, Jason Kennedy.
Jehoshaphat's, baby.
All right. Well, listen, I want to kind of start in really quick with Garrett, okay? So, Garrett, we have had an opportunity to talk a lot actually, about this particular software, and I wanted to, first of all, and maybe the best place to start this conversation is with Brad. So let me ask you this, Brad. A lot of people don't truly understand what the difference is between, let's say, a bankruptcy and a foreclosure. A lot of people don't understand what the difference is there, right? Because some people think that those two things can be synonymous with one another, but for those of us that work in the field, they're very, very different things. Can you take a moment to just kind of explain what that difference is?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. They are very different, and they can have very different processes and procedures and how you buy a property, and also a much different level of competition. So with a foreclosure, the property owner hasn't paid their debt payments on time. They've received notices and warnings, and the lender who holds that debt on the property that's secured by the property goes through the process and finally forecloses on the property and takes it back. And a lot of times what you'll find with real estate investors is they will go to the steps of the courthouse, whatever county that they live in, and the county is selling these, or the bank is selling these foreclosed properties because they don't want to keep them. And the bank controls that process. They take ownership of the property. Sometimes they discount the property for the amount that they're owed. Sometimes they don't, but there's a high level of competition. Most of your listeners probably have been at those courthouse steps with a crowd of people, and they're just bidding against each other in real time, and they're trying to get the property that way.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and so the difference here is with a bankruptcy sale, the owner of the property has decided to file for bankruptcy protection before the lender has had an opportunity to foreclose on their loan. And so the owner of the property who has the mortgage files bankruptcy, and then everything pauses. Not only their mortgage lender, but also any other debt that they might have. So credit cards, student loans, whatever they have, it all pauses, and it's put into what's called a bankruptcy estate. And that is controlled by the court, the trustee appointed by the court, and the bankruptcy judge. And so all of the assets that this person has, including their real estate, gets thrown into a bankruptcy case, and the lender has very little control over what happens with the property. It's all in the court's hands. And so it's in that playground that we like to make our investments, and it's the reason why we develop this software, is to pull specific properties that are being sold by the court through a bankruptcy proceeding and avoid the whole foreclosure kind of crowd and backlog, if you will.
Okay. All right. So really then, we have a little bit different types of bankruptcies as well. You've got your 7, your 11, and your 13. But this software kind of focuses on just the 7s, and there's a specific reason for that. Isn't that right, Garrett?
Yeah, in fact, we scour all different types of chapters. Chapter 7 and Chapter 11, we find, are the ones that have all of the real estate that go up for sale. Chapter 11 is meant for a restructure for the debtor. And a lot of the times, part of that restructure includes selling assets to pay off creditors. Now, Chapter 7 is asset specific. The debtor comes in and the assets go for sale right away. And so you'll see the majority of chapters that are filed inside that we find the assets that are for sale are typically 11 and 7, and sometimes 12, but 11 and 7 are the sweet spot. We've been doing this for 3 years now internally, and we've used the software just internally. And we've gone through all of the crap, if you will,
Right.
finding the right deals, finding the right cases, finding the right motions to follow, and it all falls back on Chapter 11 and Chapter 7 are about, I'd say, 95% of the cases that are inside of our software.
Okay. I think it's really important for people to understand that there is a big difference, not just between foreclosure and bankruptcy, but within the chapters themselves. Do you find that to be the same, JK?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. Say that again.
I said that, understanding the difference between a bankruptcy and a foreclosure, and the different types of bankruptcies being 7, 11, and 13, are very important for people to understand the difference. And I was asking you if that's your understanding, your experience.
Yeah, because it's, for example, the difference between Chapter 7 and Chapter 11, Chapter 7 is a full liquidation. They're pretty much dumping everything. Whereas at Chapter 11, they're reorganizing their debt. Okay, so that is going to make a significant difference on the assets, which includes, obviously, what we're talking about right now is the real estate. That's going to directly affect who has control of the real estate. How are you going to be able to pick it up? Will you be able to pick it up? I came across one recently where, as part of the Chapter 11, they're just selling it to a family member. So even though it was quote unquote available, it really wasn't when you looked at the court docs.
Right, absolutely. And having done these, over the years, on the early stages of my career, I was doing a lot of bankruptcies and a lot of foreclosures, and learned the hard way, how I wanted to actually invest in real estate. I think that's really all of us. When I got into this business initially, I thought I was going to be a developer. Everything I was doing was to become a developer. And I learned early on, hey, I'm going to need a lot more resources, not just capital, but relationships and so on and so forth. There was a lot. So from there, I went on to other aspects of real estate investment. And I've, of course, like everyone else, wanted to go where fewer people were. Not necessarily the path of least resistance, but because you think that would be the case, but it's not. Because once you start digging in, I mean, there's a reason that a lot of investors stay away from bankruptcies. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you agree with that, Brad?
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. I think a big pain point that a lot of us real estate investors have is deal flow, and how do we find good deals that are profitable and that we don't have to wade through 30, 40, 50 other competitors overbidding and getting into that kind of a mess. And so that's really where this software was born. Is it was born from an idea that there is a lot of deal flow available in the bankruptcy courts that are not being taken advantage of. I mean, there's trustees out there that get a bankruptcy file on their desk, and there's a property in the file that they need to liquidate, whether it's a 7 or if it's part of a reorganization, and they need that one asset liquidated so that they have the cash to reorganize all the other debt. But either way, there's a trustee out there right now in whatever court district in the United States that has a property on his desk, and he's not quite sure how to get it sold or who to approach. And so there's a huge inefficiency that exists right now in getting these properties, these assets sold out of bankruptcy. And what our software does is it scours the public database, finds these bankruptcy cases, gives our members everything they need to contact the appropriate trustee, the lawyer, the court, and let them know that they're interested in the property. And I'll tell you, most of the time, the trustee or the assigned broker by the bankruptcy judge is shocked to get a call so early in the stage, and they're grateful and they're excited to have someone that's at least willing to put a bid on a property and kind of explore the possibility of buying that asset.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what I like most of all about this software is, as you said, I mean, it just cuts straight through the nonsense. It cuts straight through the time and the paperwork and the hundreds, if not thousands, of documents that we have to review to understand what this deal actually looks like, or potential deal actually looks like. Having done it, I know that it'll take months and months and months and months and months to get to a deal. I mean, you've got to literally fill up your pipeline, if you will, with deals or with potential deals, so you can eat in 6 months. It's not that you're not going to eat today. What this software does, and I'm going to bring this right over to you, Garrett, is that it immediately cuts through all that and puts you in contact, like Brad said, with the trustee for deals that are available for purchase right now, not in 6 months, not in 3 months, right now. All the documents that you need are actually in the software as well. I mean, I can go on and on and on about how beautiful this software is to me, but let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And, it's great that we've talked about bankruptcy and inefficiencies, and really to understand, before I even get into that, there's thousands and thousands of PDFs that go into each case, thousands of pages. And there's motion after motion after motion. And the software, as you said, we sort of filter from what Pacer gives you, because Pacer, you really can't filter to find any kind of a deal. And you have to have the case number.
Wait a second, Garrett. Wait a second. Hold on a second. Let me ask you a question here. Now, you brought up Pacer because that is the service that everyone is going to try and compare this to. Now, I know that Pacer is a place that just dumps a lot of documents, and it's up to you to kind of go through that. And it's a lot, right? I mean, there's a lot going on inside of Pacer, but Pacer is the go-to place for people that are looking for bankruptcy deals. But this is something completely different than Pacer.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Pacer, you're gonna search for a case number or maybe a person or you can try to search everything. But here's the problem: is you search, let's say Georgia. Let's say Georgia and say, okay, I want to look at every case that's going on in Georgia. Number one, there's thousands of cases going on in Georgia right now. So you'd have to go through each one. On top of that, you'd have to search through each motion to see what assets are in there. Let's say you find one that has an asset. That's great. Well, how do you know what time during the proceedings of the case is time for you to call the trustee? Because there's a lot of time when you're too early. There's a lot of time when you're too late. There's a tiny little window of the sweet spot. And that's what Brad and I, with his legal background and my real estate background, have put together to find that sweet spot where, okay, there are thousands of real estate assets in bankruptcy right now, let's say in Georgia. Well, we filter, and they'll show 15 to 20 at any given time inside of our software saying, hey, this is the window for you to call the trustee or the assigned broker or the appointed attorney, which we have all that contact information for you, which is in and of itself hard to find inside of Pacer, for you to say, hey, call them, and you can actually go after this deal just like any other regular deal and submit an offer with a court-approved document, which we have and all that stuff when we go inside the software. So it's good to know that what Pacer provides, okay, they provide all that's all public knowledge, but from there we've done a filter to get down to the deals that have all the real estate, and then from there we've done another filter to say, okay, these specific motions are motions that we like to follow, and we know that's when we can get involved. And those are the ones that you're going to see inside of the software. So really, you need to have some knowledge of bankruptcy, but you don't have to be an expert. You just follow the documents that we give you and the contact information we give you, and you get involved just like any other real estate deal because we've done all of that pre-filtering for you.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the key benefits of, other than the time factor, the saving of time, one of the key benefits to motivate someone to want to utilize this service is deal flow. I mean, every day, all across the United States, you're looking at a new opportunity. And it could be a multifamily, it can be land, it can be single family homes, it can be a lot of things actually, especially once you start to talk to the trustee. But more importantly, you know what they're asking for. You can look and do all this due diligence. And, when you pop in the address to see, comparable sales in that area, you're going to see that property and it's going to say, under contract or pending or something of that nature. But that's only because it's literally in the bankruptcy court. Is that correct, Brad?
Yeah, a lot of times if you use the software, you'll find a property that you love. And while you're kind of doing your own due diligence.
Brad, it's not if you use the software, it's when you use the software.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But, so when you're using it, you'll see a property you love, you'll love the price. There may be some value add opportunities to bring the price higher or value higher once you buy it. And you'll kind of do your own search online and you'll find it and it'll say pending, or most of the time it won't even show up as listed for sale at all, but whenever it does, most of the time it means that it's just been shown as pending because it's in a pending bankruptcy case. It doesn't mean it's under contract. And so most novice or just kind of ancillary investors will kind of skip over that one because they think it's taken or under contract, where the truth of the matter is it's in a bankruptcy proceeding and the trustee, more times than not, is trying to sell it. And so that's where some of the inefficiency lies. I mean, the fact is, like Gary said, Pacer is a database that the federal government maintains for public record, and it literally is just thousands and thousands of PDFs. And all those PDFs are legal motions. That's right. And court documents. And so we've really taken that kind of anxiety and effort and just mess and untangled it into a software that you can use to really find some good properties.
That's right. And JK and I have been, working with the software now for nearly a month, and talking to a lot of different trustees and putting in offers and really kind of seeing things from a user's perspective, right? And you see all these things and all the things that we're discussing and more, of course, but you see all these things, and in the beginning, you're thinking that there's some kind of an inconsistency there, right? There's, okay, this property's showing pending, but there's a reason that it's showing that, and the offer price is different than the pending price, higher or lower, it doesn't really matter. But once you start talking to these trustees, you really start to find out, the meat and potatoes behind what's going on. And I know that, I've been doing it, but JK's been doing it probably 3 times as much as I have. And I just, JK, when you're talking to these trustees, what's the one thing that they all have in common when you reach out?
Well, Brad touched on it a little bit. They are the ultimate highly motivated seller. I mean, they're to get rid of it. I mean, they don't want this stuff. They want to get rid of it. They want to get it off its books and off their books, I should say.
But when you say highly
motivated,
what does that mean? I mean, what is your true experience when you say highly motivated? Because I've been there, I've talked to them. What does that mean? I mean, what are they really saying to you?
They're like, please take this from me. Please take this off my desk. And by the way, this is also common in the conversation. Once they kind of get it's funny because Garrett touched upon this a little bit too. It's like when you first call, oftentimes they're surprised because they have no idea how you found them. They're like, how did you know the property was for sale? How did you know it was in bankruptcy? How do you know this? How do you know that?
Yeah.
Then you explain it to them, and then they get really excited. And this is not uncommon that I've talked to a trustee about property X, whatever, 123 Maple Street. And in the course of the conversation, the trustee comes back and says, well, dude, I've got like 3 other properties. Do you want to take a look at those? I'll email them over to you. That's happened a handful of times already. And so, and all of this stuff, and I want to stress this, and I know it's been kind of touched upon, but I want to stress this. These are off-market deals.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows that they're for sale. Okay, nobody knows it. As opposed to, let's say, foreclosure, where once it hits foreclosure, you're going to have like 30 offers on it, especially in today's market.
That's right.
Nobody knows about these things.
That's exactly right. And, thank you for that. And Garrett, you and I have had an opportunity to really talk about the, PACER and the inefficiencies in the system as a whole. And, PACER is a place, basically it's just a document dump, and it's up to the individual or the group or the team that you would need to have to go through all this stuff in a timely manner. I mean, when we're dealing with PACER, for those that are dealing with bankruptcies, I mean, this software, when I say it's a game changer, I truly mean that it's a game changer, because those inefficiencies you have now just eliminated for the most part. I mean, the software scrubs it, gives you the pertinent documentation. I mean, it gives you the contact information for the trustee, the lawyer. I mean, you have everything you need. You know what the starting point is, and it doesn't mean that's where they might be asking $250, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get that. And you touched on it earlier about it, and this is at the end of the process, right? The end of the process of this is, you've looked at a couple of deals or a few deals, and you want to start placing some offers in, but it's, how do you do it? And because again, they're right there for you, but it's how do you do it? And there's this thing there that talks about the expiration date. And I want you to share, Garrett, if you will, the information on that expiration date. And then if you don't mind, show us what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's an expiration date on the deals. Do you want me to share my screen so they can see the software?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's do that so then they can get a peek into what's happening here. All right, let's see. All right, let me know when you guys can see it.
You're up.
You guys can see it?
Yep.
All right. So basically, so just back up and I'll answer that question, but we made this software, number one, initially for internal use. And so we wanted to make it super user-friendly and easy for us to hire an analyst to just rummage through and find us the deals that meet our criteria internally. So we've made it to where, it's super simple to go through. There's only a few tabs, but that's all you need, because this tab right here, Marketplace, is extremely powerful. So let's go in here really quickly. You have, so we've done, like I said, we pre-filter, pre-filter, pre-filter. Once it hits our software, now we have, with a real estate mind and the side of things in mind, and we can filter according to our real estate needs. So we can go bankruptcy, we've got commercial residential. Over here, we got all these different types of residential. You can do by price, you can go by cap rate if it's available, location of asset, you name it. We've tried to do a number of units if you're into multis, the court district, chapter, there's all kinds of stuff, and by keyword. So right now, let's just go residential and single family. And we'll go in here. It'll pop up everything that's happening today. Just note, every page has 20 deals. So if you go 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120 deals right now that are ready. Now, like I said earlier, it doesn't mean that there's only 120 real estate assets that are for sale that are single family in the courts. There's actually thousands.
But Garrett,
what we've done,
now that's what people are seeing when they go on there on any given day, right? But
right, that's right.
But every day that they can go there, it can be different, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Every day, when the court's open, so let's say Monday through Friday, we're following what they put in, right? So Monday through Friday, there's new deals every single day that pop in here, and they can be around the country. So, you've got all these different deals, and what we tried to make it, instead of it making it look like a bankruptcy software, this is a real estate software. This is a deal finding software. And so we wanted to list these bankruptcy deals just like you would find in other places. However, these deals are off market, right? And so you got the case number, you got price, and then expiration date. Now that was the initial question of expiration date, but if you don't mind, let me just go through a deal.
Yes,
and
please do.
Then it'll explain itself. Does that sound okay?
Please do.
Okay, so I've scrummaged it this morning, and I saved a few over here that meet criteria for me, and I know for you and your students that they would salivate over these. So let's start with this one here on the bottom. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Louisiana, New Orleans, $70,000. Here's the case number. Here's the expiration date. I'll explain that in a minute.
Now, wait a second. I got to say this. For those that are listening to this on whatever podcast service you're using, you're going to want to take a peek at this. So when you get home or when you get to your office, wherever you're going, pull out your phone, pull up YouTube, make sure that you're going to Real Estate 360, look for the podcast there so you can literally see what he's doing. It's worth your time. Trust me. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Garrett, but I want people that are listening to know that they need to take a break, go to Real Estate 360 on YouTube and look at this.
Perfect. No, perfect. And so, again, remember, all this stuff is based off of PDF documents that, Brad and I put together. But we've actually made it to where it's a very, very simple listing that everybody's familiar with, right? You've got bedroom, bath. You've got some of the attributes of the actual asset. You've got the address. Here's where it's very powerful. You got the seller details of who you need to contact, which is the trustee in this case. Here's the phone number and the email, and then the bankruptcy details. There's a save icon here, which is great. Now, it says $70,000. Let's just, for kicks, let's just go and look this up here. I'm just taking you through the process that I do on every deal, and that I know that Myles and Jay do as well.
That's
so
right.
You go in here, you look up the deal, and you're like, okay, let me go to Realtor. $80,000, right?
Yep.
Well, here's what's so great. And honestly, before we made this software, we didn't know that this was the case until we made the software. And when we type it into Realtor and Zillow, look what it says, guys. It says pending, or it says contingent, or it says off market. Yep. And what happens when you're looking for deals on any of these platforms? Do you ever say, oh, let me just scroll through and look at all the pending deals? No, we scroll right over the pending deals.
Every time.
But this is not pending. This is the court saying, well, this is number one part of the court, but the court is saying, hey, I'm willing and ready to accept offers on this deal. And let me tell you the reason why it is pending. On this particular deal, what I'm willing to bet is that here's a document tab. Now remember, we've scrummaged through thousands of different PDFs, and all we give you, when you click on document, is the only pertinent document that you're going to need to understand this case. Now, this one's 18 pages. I would recommend reading all the way through it.
Mhm.
On top of what us providing this document, we've highlighted all of the information that if you just wanted to say, hey, I want to cliff note this thing real quick, scroll through the highlighted information. 100% owner of this property, okay? Here we go. There's a purchase price of $70,000. I wonder what the market shows. I bet I wanted to actually see what the market is showing. But here's what's really cool. This one has an offer on it, okay? Per court orders and per court regulations, the judge could put a 30 or 60 day once they accept a purchase agreement saying, hey, let's see if there's any better or higher offers before we accept this offer. Mm-hmm. And then that's exactly what's happening here. Here's the offer, that's $70,000. Here's the deposit. Now, for me, I've done thousands of real estate deals over the last 7 years, and not once have I ever talked to a broker and they're like, hey, you know what? Here's an accepted offer. Why don't you look at all the terms of the offer and then let me know if you want to beat that somehow?
Right.
Have any of you guys experienced that? I never have.
Not one. In fact, most realtors would lose their license for doing that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, here's what's cool. You scroll through here. Again, I highly advise you read it so you're familiar with the entire case of what's happening. It's only 18 pages for you to get a great deal, right? Well, guess what's on here, guys? Here is the actual purchase agreement that has been submitted to the court. It's all public knowledge. And so you scroll through here, you look at what's being offered, $60,000, you've got, it'll show you the deposit, it'll say, oh, this is an all cash, okay? But here, that's so powerful, right? Some of them are financed, whereas what if I'm in all cash? There's some things that there's just negotiation power to go through these deals on. So that's what's so powerful about this document that we attach.
And
so
you know what, Garrett? You know what? Another thing is, for those that are watching this, I mean, if you're at home and you're debating if you want to get involved with this software and you figure, hey, what's this? I mean, you can take that court case number that you highlighted on this recording. Somebody could pause that recording, take that, put it in Pacer to see if it's a real deal.
Totally, 100%. In fact, I'll go back up so you can get the number. Here it is. These are documents that have been uploaded through Pacer that we take. So these are live documents that are real. So anyways, exactly right. Having this document, having the purchase agreement in hand, you have ammo. Then what you do is you come back and you talk or number one, you do your due diligence, right? You look at all the details you can find on that single family, if you're familiar with that area. And then you're like, you know what? I think I can offer, $80,000. You obviously know that this is going to be a full rehab with the boarded up windows, but that's what we love, right? That's what you guys teach. That's what we go after. We love value adds because that's where we make the money.
That's right.
So you come back here, and then the only other thing here is the expiration date. Now, let me go back to the expiration date, which is on this spot. We have the expiration date on these deals. Oh, you know what? Sorry, let me go to save deals. We have these expiration dates because the court has said, hey, we are willing to accept any higher and better offer until October 30th. And so you know that that's your timeline to be able to do your due diligence. Again, we'll look up here. Today's October 6th. You have until October 30th to do the due diligence on one single family home and submit an offer.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
All right. So in this particular scenario, we are seeing that offer came through a RE/MAX, right? A RE/MAX agent. Now, we have access directly to the trustee. How would you advise it? Would you advise getting your own agent and having your agent submit that offer to the trustee, or would you just call up the trustee and say, hey, I want to submit an offer into you? How would you handle that? Yeah,
that's a great point. There's two things. If you feel like you need to have a realtor, great. But if you don't, it could just be, a buyer submission where you can forego the realtor. Now, some of the courts and some of the trustees may require a realtor to submit it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what that first phone call would be. But some of them won't. Like with dollar amounts of $69,000 or $49,000 or $70,000, I don't think, a lot of the times, I don't think they care if you can prove that you have the money, right?
Right.
And you're like, hey, I've done my due diligence. Here's the purchase agreement. And that's the other thing. Like, if you now you need the documents to be able to submit correctly to the court. So what we have, once you found your home that you want to say, hey, I want to submit an offer. Well, if you come over to member guides, we take you through, number one, a glossary to understand every term inside of bankruptcy so that you can feel sort of confident when you talk to these trustees. It's not necessary for you to know, but I would highly recommend it. Coming here to the bankruptcy knowledge base, and then you go, how do I initiate contact? Well, we tell you exactly how to do it. And the first thing you want to submit is a letter of intent. Those are mainly for multifamily, higher dollar amount deals for a letter of intent, right? There's a non-disclosure with the trustee for them to give you all of the due diligence package that they have per deal. So you just submit that to them without them even asking. Another thing that's going to blow them away. They're going to be like, oh, okay. And then here, once you're ready to submit a purchase agreement, we have it in doc form. This is a court-approved purchase agreement, purchase sale agreement that you can submit to the trustee. Now, what's so great about that is that takes right here the broker or the realtor out if you want. You don't really have to, because their main job is mainly to say, hey, here's the right documents of submission. Here's the things we need to do for getting us to close. Well, you have it all. And then the trustee and the court will make that decision. I will say, and Brad can hop in here too, but per court restrictions, if there's a higher and better offer that's on the table, they are required to bring that to court for the judge to look at.
And that's just what it is, right, Brad?
Yeah, that's true. And so this kind of brings up the point. So in this scenario, there was an offer. There won't always be an offer. So oftentimes you'll have the opportunity to be the first person to make an offer. And then other times you'll have the opportunity to overbid based on your preference and on your due diligence that you do on the property. But the great thing about that is there's kind of a give and take in bankruptcy. The give is, if you buy a property in bankruptcy under section 363 of the bankruptcy code, you are getting that property free and clear of all the past history, of all the bad debt, of all the bad financial decisions, whatever or whomever is owed money by the debtor, whoever has liens on the property, it's all gone when you buy in bankruptcy. And so that's an amazing, very powerful aspect of buying a property in bankruptcy. All the past is gone, and you're starting with a brand new clean slate, certified by the court. The take in that scenario is the court is under the duty to get the best price they can for all the people who are giving away all that debt and all of those rights and liens and letting the property go free and clear to the new owner. And so they have to let you overbid people, but in order to incentivize buyers to be the first to make an offer, they have what's called a stalking horse bid or protections. And so if you're the first, like in this scenario we just looked at, this first person who offered the cash offer, they're the stalking horse bidder now. That's what the bankruptcy court calls them. And what that means is they broke the ice, they made, the first offer, and
they set the bar.
What's that?
They set the bar, per se.
They set the bar. They set the floor. Yeah. And so what the court does in exchange for that is they give them certain benefits. One of those benefits is a breakup fee. So if you're the stalking horse bidder, you set the floor, you set the bar, you make an offer, and someone overbids you, you can negotiate in your offer and contract with the court that if you get overbid, you still get a fee or a breakup fee and can make money as the stalking horse bidder, whether you get the property or not. And there's certain things like that that the court will give a stalking horse bidder to incentivize you to make the first offer. And all of those things can be found in the templates that we provide in the software that users can use and adjust as they'd like.
Now that stalking horse bidder, is that going to be specific to commercial or multifamily, or will you also find that in the single family residential space?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a stalking horse bidder applies to any 363 sale. So to answer your question in layman's terms, it's for any property being sold in bankruptcy. And honestly, it doesn't have to be a real estate deal. It could be you're buying a business. You could be buying some equipment. You could be buying someone's note. But in any case, if you're the stalking horse bidder in a 363 sale for a bankruptcy proceeding, you can negotiate stalking horse bidder protections and rights that get you paid if you don't end up with what you're trying to buy.
I think that's a beautiful scenario. I mean, there's money to be made, even when you don't get the deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, the court wants active, legitimate buyers involved in their bankruptcy cases because it makes the court process and the bankruptcy process much more efficient than it is currently.
And I love that. And I wanted to go through one more thing about that deal in Louisiana that we were just looking at. You'll notice, and if you're watching this, you'll notice what I noticed. You'll see the offer there from the court. Let me go back to it here, Garrett. Is $70,000, right? But
Right.
when you search it and you look at other platforms that it's on, it says $80,000 as pending. And then when you go back into the court documents, you see a $60,000 offer, right?
That's right.
So, the point I'm trying to make here is that it doesn't matter what it was initially offered at, right? It doesn't,
Right.
it has no bearing. As Brad just said, someone has to come in and set the floors. Is that right there, Garrett?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you can look at it just sort of in like a low bid starting point for a foreclosure or something. They say, hey, the floor is 100,000 or something like that. Well, we are the ones who are actually creating that inside of bankruptcy. And the great thing of having, users who are looking at it like, well, somebody already submitted an offer. Well, there are so many more benefits than outweigh anything by somebody else submitting the offer. Number one, we know the dollar amount that the court will accept, the minimum. They've already been accepted, right? So if you're not in the stalking horse position, that's okay. In fact, I like it even better because now I have all the terms of somebody that the court has said, yes, we will accept that offer. Great. Let me just up those terms a little bit, make them a little sexier and sweeter,
Right.
and I'm getting the deal. Because the majority of time, like Brad was saying, a lot of these people who submit the first offer really are going after that stalking horse play, and sometimes they're like, well, this is my final and best. I can't go any higher, because then it doesn't work. Well, if we can see the ARV after this is 150 and it takes like 40,000 to go in, well, that's a $40,000 profit once we spruce this bad boy up. So there's a lot of really cool angles in here, and it just takes time when you're going through here and you're talking to these trustees right here. Number one, you're going to develop a relationship with them. They're going to be blown away that you even know about this deal. And number two, just like Jay said, they're going to offer you even more stuff, even more deals. And the reason is, and I don't think any of us have touched on this, is the trustee gets paid $60 per filing.
Correct.
No matter what it is. They get $60 per filing. And per asset they sell, they get a percentage. And that's how they actually make money. So when you're a legitimate buyer and you're saying to Wilbur here, hey, Wilbur, this is my area. I love Louisiana. When you have single families outside of this one, let me know first, and I'll be the stalking horse bidder. I'll be the first bidder on anyone that you have that has some value add, right? So, there's a relationship building on top of just getting these deals is super powerful. You'll have a Rolodex of all of the trustees.
Not a Rolodex. How old are you again, Garrett?
I know, yeah. Sorry, not a Rolodex. Dude.
Digital Rolodex.
Yeah, sorry.
Digital Rolodex.
You'll have a nice little contact area in your iPhone that you can hit them up directly.
You look a lot younger than you are, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I wonder, we should take a vote on how many people even know what a Rolodex are that we're actually talking to on this.
That's right. We should do that poll, JK.
I think we will.
We should do that. We should run that poll, JK.
We'll do it.
That's classic. Anyways, I just, there's so much, the software is so simple. However, you've got to understand the complexities that have gone in to make it this simple for our use. It is so complex and so inefficient that it hinders 99% of people to even get involved inside of bankruptcy deals. And really, this has changed our real estate investment company that Brad and I have. We get unlimited deals inside of here on multi, on single family, and there's limited competition, if any, and that's where having this type of deal flow becomes priceless.
Absolutely. And listen, guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this video and share the information, a little bit of training even on there. So I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you, Brad, for being here. Thank you, Garrett, for sharing that information. And JK, as always, my man. I appreciate you as well. So in closing, guys, you can find out a lot more about this by going to realestate360pro.com to find out how you can start to utilize this software. And I want to reiterate the fact that this is a software that you can use anywhere in the world to buy American real estate that is in bankruptcy. It isn't just for the little guy like me, if you will, or the big multifamily buyers or commercial buyers. It's for anyone that wants to actively buy affordable real estate in the United States. They keep talking about how expensive real estate is right now. In fact, just this morning, they were saying how values of homes today, adjusted, of course, over time, haven't been this high in 131 years. That's a long time, right? But we just showed you where you can still find deals for under $100,000, for under $200,000. I mean, we looked at a deal, it was $1 million, $1.2 million, I believe it was, for $700,000. I mean, depending on where you are in the country, that's a super sweet deal. So thank you everyone for being here. As always, like, subscribe, share, download, do whatever it is you want to do with this information. But most importantly, contact us, engage with us. Let us know what you think. If you want to hear more about this, we're here to do that. Again, go to realestate360pro.com and you can begin the process there. This is your man, Jason Myles, and I will see you on the next one. Hey everyone, this is your man Jason Myles for Real Estate 360 Pro, and today we're going to give you a little bit of training on our bankruptcy finding deal software, right? It's called Seek BK. So this is a software that is absolutely incredible, and it's really, really easy to use. So we wanted to just kind of give you some brief tutorials about how to navigate your way through the site and some of the most important things that you're going to need. So without further ado, I'm going to send this right over to Garrett Fuller, who is one of the designers, and this is his brainchild, if you will, or one of the many people that had this idea and developed it over the course of the last few years. So he's going to kind of navigate this for you, since he's the builder, the designer, the architect, if you will. And let's just go right on over to Garrett.
Great, thank you. Yeah, okay, so you'll just come to seekbk.com, navigate over here to login. When you sign up, the instant you sign up, you'll get your login information sent to you to email. You'll come right here. This will be your login, your password, and just click here. It's super simple. And then you'll have a dashboard. These are just quick links to get you to these specific things. Are also over here. Again, as we taught in all the videos here, this is the bread and butter, the marketplace. Let me go to these other ones first, and then we'll come back here. But basically, saved deals is when you find deals on the marketplace, they'll pop up right here. And those are ones that you can come back to. There's going to be hundreds of deals at any given time, new ones that are always coming on the deal. So you want to save those ones so you can come back and work on your due diligence and process with those specific deals. Member guides, these are tutorials, these are glossary, these are things that you're going to need to know as you participate in these specific deals. And support, we're here with live chat. We have our email. You can send us a message. Live chat's going to be regular business hours, Monday through Friday. Anytime after that, you've got the email. But that's basically it. You've got the marketplace here, which is the bread and butter, and this is where all the functionality comes. But those are the tabs that we have. Oh, up here in the top right, you have my account, where you can come in here and switch your credit card billing information, update your login information, and that's about it. Those are all the buttons that we have here. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, in essence, that is the basics of what that looks like. Now, in the next video, we're going to go into a little bit more of the functionality, what all the buttons on the left mean.
Okay.
And kind of go into there. So for you guys that are watching this brief video, we wanted to just show you exactly how to log in, where to navigate, what those main tabs that you're going to see, those very bright, colorful tabs, what those mean for you, as well as how you can change any of the information that you need to change, meaning maybe you need to change your password. You do all that in that upper right-hand corner that Garrett just shared with you. So in the next video, we'll get more into some of the functionality, so stick with us. All right, everyone, this is your man, Jason Myles, back with another training video for Seek BK. We're going to be dealing, of course, again with Mr. Garrett Fuller, who's going to walk us through the functionality of all of the buttons, the tabs, if you will, on the left, and what you need to do to find the deals and things of that nature. So without further ado, let's take it right on over to Mr. Garrett Fuller.
All right. Well, thank you. Okay, so you've already got the dashboard with these buttons here. You're going to navigate using these. Let's go ahead and start with Marketplace, which is going to be the most used tab anyway. We can do a deep dive on what's included here. Again, this is pre-filtered for you so that it's only going to show real estate deals that are ready for you to participate in. If you already know the case number or title of what you've seen in the past on what's been happening, you can put it in this tab here. Asset source, we've got bankruptcy, and sometimes we have some value add, but mainly 99% of deals that are in here are bankruptcy. Real estate, you can pick which type of real estate. You've got different types of commercial. Main deals that are in here are multifamily residential for commercial. Then you've got residential. We have a lot of different residential. That's mainly the focus of the software. We do have multi, but we have a ton of single family, all that are available, in fact, and then all that are available in any one of these categories. You can search by your price. You can do a range. You can go 5,000 to 400,000. Any asset that's in this software that is in that range will pop up for you to look at. So if you have a range of deals the price that you like to work in, there you go. If you don't care and you're like, hey, there's some of these deals don't have a price and it just says non-specified, you can go into these as well. And you can just say, okay, let me just browse through these. Note that you can use any of these filters together. So I've done residential, you can do single family, you can do a price range of 5,000, 4,000. This is just going to filter you as much as you want. You can do location of asset. We did by state. So you can put Georgia in here. You can do date listed. Hey, which ones came in today? Because there's always deals that are coming in Monday through Friday. When the court's open, they'll update new docs. So that's typically Monday through Friday. Then you'll have the whole weekend to look through what's on there. But you can see what's on there. You can see old expired deals. You can see the ones that are expiring in 7 to 90 days. So there's a lot of different filters according to your needs, number of units, 1 to 10, all the way up to 20 plus. Court district, if you know your district that you want to go by, go for it. Here's your chapter. If you just want to, if you're having success in chapter 7 and that's all you want to see, go for it. Contact person. You can go, they're going to vary by court case, but any one of these can be searched, and those are the people you'll be contacting. So if I go back here to Marketplace, and reset it, it'll always reset the button. And then we're adding a reset button right here, because when you do a search and go, when you come back, it has those filters. That reset button is being added. So it'll be right next to the search button. You can say reset my filters, so then you can do it again. So that's the biggest piece. It will, obviously, when you push search, it's going to list out the different deals I didn't change any of the filters. So it'll have all of the real estate assets that are ready for you to get involved in here listed.
Nationwide, correct?
What?
In this case, it's nationwide, right?
Oh, 100%. Yep, nationwide, everywhere. There's well more than 10 pages. There's 20 per page. There's probably 300. See, if you keep going, it goes up to 14. There's probably 300 deals at this given moment, and it changes every day that you can get involved in. You want to go back and change the search, you hit the back button here. One more thing I'd like, and it'll take me to the next tab. Let me go down here. If I see on any deal, you see this heart here, it's going to be available here. And then when you click on the actual specific listing, you can save that for future. So if you're saying, hey, I love this single family home in Missouri, I don't have the time to look at the details, or I have, and I definitely want to pursue it, you just go ahead and hit this button. It's going to refresh, and it's going to be in your saved deals. The document button here are the pertinent documents that you need from the bankruptcy case. These are the only ones that you're really going to need to know. Again, we always highly recommend that you read through the entire document. We do highlight the actual information on here if you just want to do a quick skim and see what's happening on the case. But we always recommend reading from the top to the bottom if this is a serious case that you want to be involved in. Okay. Here's all of the asset details of an actual property. A lot of the details aren't given inside of bankruptcy, but we give you as much as is given. You can find all these details on Zillow or Realtor, really easily. Bankruptcy details of the actual case, in case you want to search by that later and come back to it. Seller information, which is extremely powerful. You can talk directly to the debtor in this case, who is going to you can contact them through email or phone. And then the asset information. Here's a map that you can look at. You can do street view. It's pretty, you've got all the bells and whistles basically of what you need to do to be able to see what the neighborhood looks like, and so on and so forth. So that's added to save deals, it says. I can go back to search, and you can just keep scrolling on through. Again, that you can be as filtered as you want. If you have a specific criteria, whether it's nationwide or a specific location, you can do it here. But this is meant for nationwide investors. This is meant for wholesalers. This is meant for international investors. We grab all bankruptcy deals throughout the entire United States that have assets in them of real estate and put them in here for you.
That's right.
So
and then this saved deal winds up in your saved deals, which is on your dashboard.
That's right, and here. So if you look over here on your menu, you can just say click deals, and that deal that we clicked on, it did show up right here in your saved deals. So you can have a quick access to the deals that you're wanting to pursue. And then you can take them off at any given time. But if you click on any of these, it'll take you right to the listing and have all the pertinent information that you need to continue your due diligence. Okay? So that's Marketplace. Again, Marketplace, it can be as intense and filtered as you'd like it, or it could just be, let me just push search and see what's out there for sale. Just know that it always lists the newest deals first. So the newest deals that have come out that our filtration is put through will show up first. All right, so we got the saved deals. That's where you'll see the deals that you hit that heart on the actual listings. Next, you go to member guides. Now, we did knowledge bases for value add opportunity zone benefits, if there's any that are in there. Here's bankruptcy, which is going to be your main source for you to understand what's in the marketplace. All these different things. You have different questions. There's going to be documents that we'll go over in the next video that are part of this as well. anything that you need to be able to get involved inside of bankruptcy, you're going to have here. If a trustee brings up any terms, or you want to pre-study the terms that any of these bankruptcy trustees are going to ask you, here you go. Understanding what a creditor is inside of bankruptcy, understanding what a debtor is, liquidation, all these different things. What are schedules? There's going to be all these different terms that may pop up inside of bankruptcy that I'd highly recommend that you understand. Stalking horse bidder, we talked about in a previous video. But these are all very powerful terms that you understand, and once you know the process here. Now again, real bankruptcy process is extremely time intensive, and there's so much crap involved. However, these are the only things that you're going to need to know about bankruptcy and how to be able to actually buy assets inside of bankruptcy because of this software. The last tab here is support. We like to do support through live chat. You've got live chat through regular business hours. Outside of regular business hours, you've got our email. We'll respond within 24 hours, if not sooner. This will go directly to the email as well. But we found that live chat's going to be the best, most interactive. It's with some of our real estate experts on our team that understand these deals, that can help you navigate through these deals. If you have any questions or something's not showing up correctly, this is where you contact us here. So that's all the details. And again, up here in the top right, we did briefly go over it. You got the My Account if you need to update any of your credit card information or your account information. It's all right here. All right, that's the software in a nutshell.
All right, guys. So that is all the tabs there on the left. Everything that you need to know about your dashboard. There's a few things that we'll kind of go over in another video about your deals. But let's finish this video. Let's get to the next video for those of you that are in a time crunch. And let's talk a bit about these forms that are so vital to every single deal anywhere in this country. See you in the next training video. Hey, welcome back to this video, everyone. This training video has everything to do with the legal documents and legal aspects of doing your deal through SeekBK. And really, however you're going to do a bankruptcy deal, you're going to have to use these documents. The difference here is we provide these documents for you. And this information is going to be shared today by our in-house legal beagle, Brad Randall. So, Brad Randall, are you ready to go, man?
I'm ready.
All right, so let's do it. I'm going to share your screen. So Brad handles all the legal aspects. He makes sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted so that not only they can protect themselves in their business, but so that you can be protected in any deals that you do going through. So, because we're all doing the same kinds of deals. So without further ado, Brad Randall.
Yeah, thanks. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure the software included were the basic forms and templates that you would need in order to successfully interact with the bankruptcy court. These properties are being sold inside of a bankruptcy proceeding by a trustee most of the time, or a court-approved broker. And so you're going to want to interact with them in a way that is familiar to them and in a way that the court approves of. And so that requires you to use certain forms and certain types of contracts that are similar but in other ways different than your typical real estate documentation. So let me get on the site and I'll show you the forms and the templates that we've kind of put up here for you to use, to edit, and to make your own. Because that's the real point, right? Is that you become comfortable enough to interact with the court, the trustee, so that you can successfully purchase these properties. We obviously aren't your legal counsel. I'm not your lawyer, but these are forms and templates that we've successfully used in our own business to purchase these properties. So let's click on member guides is where we're at in the software. And if you click on bankruptcy knowledge base, these are all the kind of typical questions that you will have when you begin your journey of interacting with the bankruptcy court, the trustee, and the approved sellers inside of bankruptcy. So obviously, these deals include single family, multifamily, all kinds of real estate deals throughout all of the country. And they're available through the public database. And that's what our software does so well in bringing these deals to you in a way that you can act on them and actually grab one. Let's go to the next tab where it says, when I see a bankruptcy listing, what does it mean? It just means that the court is ready to either get a first bidder or to get additional bidders to sell a property. Our bankruptcy software filters all of those documents and makes it so that you have access to all the publicly available data, the important parties that are trying to sell the property, and you can act on it and get some great deals. Let's go to the next tab, why bankruptcy asset sales. A lot of people get a little bit nervous interacting with the court or worried that if they're buying something in bankruptcy, for some reason or another, they're going to have to deal with creditors or other court issues, and that's just simply not the case. In fact, it's the opposite. So bankruptcy assets provide a great opportunity to invest in properties that you couldn't find anywhere else. And when you buy them through the bankruptcy process, the bankruptcy court provides you protections as the buyer where you don't have to deal with any of the past stuff. The next is a really important question. It's how do I initiate contact with a bankruptcy lawyer, someone in bankruptcy, or a trustee? And that is where kind of the rubber hits the road. So typically what happens is a file hits the trustee's desk, and the trustee is in charge of getting these assets sold and paying off all the people who are owed money. And so the process typically starts off with a letter of intent or a term sheet. And we've got that document here for you. You can download it. You can convert it to a Word document and use it however you'd like. And it has all the terms that the trustee needs to take to the bankruptcy court judge in order to accept you as a bona fide bidder or purchaser and allow you into the process to make an offer. This is typically the case. A letter of intent specifically is used when a bigger deal is on the table or a portfolio of homes, something a little bit more complex than just one home, because the letter of intent or the term sheet will describe all the different terms and conditions that the deal will happen under. It will talk about your own financing if you're a cash deal, and all of the other things that the bankruptcy judge is going to want to know before letting you become a bona fide purchaser of whatever the assets are. The other document in this tab is the non-disclosure with the trustee. This is important for the trustee. Oftentimes they want you to sign this letter, and they'll sign it also, where you are agreeing to confidentiality. A lot of the information that the person filing bankruptcy has in the bankruptcy case is confidential. It could be rent rolls, it could be projections, it could be all the lease agreements that they have in their apartment building, it could be past appraisals, all kinds of bank statements, all the things that a typical real estate investor would want to see before purchasing an investment property, especially if it's a multifamily or a larger portfolio of homes. And so the court would love to get non-disclosure signed with potential buyers so that they know that the information is safe and remains confidential. And so that form is in there for you as well to use and to modify as you see fit. I will say also that once you kind of get into the process and you're talking to trustees or the court-appointed brokers, they are very friendly and they will help you if you ask. And so don't hesitate to ask them for help. And these samples or templates that we provide in the software will get you a long way with working with these professionals, and then they will definitely help you if you have any questions as well. And we're always here to help too. The next one is there a specific purchase agreement or a sales contract that the bankruptcy court uses? this is a really great question because um, there are certain things in bankruptcy that are very different than in a normal third party open market typical vanilla real estate transaction. One of those things is the language that needs to be in the sales contract about all of the protections you're going to want as a buyer under Section 363 of the Bankruptcy Code. And that is all the protections related to all the past debt, all the past liens, all the people who are owed money. All of those people are barred, and they are washed out in a 363 sale, and you take the property free and clear. So you're going to want that language in your sales contract or your purchase agreement. There's other language in our sample purchase agreements that talk about all of the benefits you want to negotiate with the court if you're the stalking horse bidder. The stalking horse bidder, as discussed in previous trainings, is the first bidder or the first person to make an offer in a bankruptcy sale for a piece of property. And as that first bidder, you have the right to negotiate breakup fees and other types of protections so that you get paid even if you don't get the property. And all of this language and much more is included in the purchase agreement samples that we provide. We personally have used these purchase agreements in properties and in sales that we've purchased from bankruptcy, and we know they work, and we know that they're court approved. Every bankruptcy court has their own kind of twists and turns and things that they like to use, but for the most part, these forms will get you where you need to go and make sure you have a successful transaction.
Okay, thanks, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that breakdown of everything. Is that everything that we have back there that they're going to need to know about?
Yep, that's basically it. And we just encourage them to become students of this process, and we're always here to help.
Absolutely. So make sure that you spend a little bit of time in the back end of your office. I don't want to sound like a multi-level marketing company here, but make sure that you're spending time back there so you can familiarize yourself with every piece of paper, every sentence, every word that you're going to need to be familiar with if you're not already, as you start to make these offers to the trustees of the bankruptcy court. So that is the end of this particular training video, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, guys. Now in this video, we're going to walk you through the whole process from the moment you log in till the time you find a deal and look at the documents. So make sure you're looking at this. Take notes if you want to, but again, you're going to always be able to look back at this video, but we want to make sure that you know exactly what to look for and how to navigate your way through the process of finding a deal. So without further ado, here is Mr. Garrett.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm on the Marketplace tab here. I've clicked on this. I have all of my filters that we can use. For this example, I'm just going to use the filter of location and leave everything else as default. So let's go to Louisiana is one place here we could go to. Let's see what's on available. You got a 4-bedroom. Oh, this is the one I was looking for. I've been eyeing this one down, so this is a great example. So before I click on it, one of the first things you want to do is, number one, see the price. That's could be the price. It could not be the price. It's going to be right around there, but that's what the court docs have said. That's what they're willing to sell it for. So we'll see that inside of the court documents. Here's the case number. And this is what I wanted to talk about, the expire date. There's going to be an expire date on every single one of these listings from bankruptcy. And what that means is whether there's an offer on the real estate deal or not at this point, the court has given to October 30th to finalize the sale of this property. So on this one in particular, I bet there's an offer that has been accepted by the court, and the court said, okay, great, this has been accepted. We're going to give all the way until the end of October for any higher or better offers. They'll do the same thing if you're the first offer, and those are exactly what that expiry date is on any one of these deals. So you're like, okay, I have until October 30th to submit an offer on this one in New Orleans. This one, New Orleans, is 4-unit. This 400-unit RV park. Okay, so from there, just so you guys make sure you understand what that expire date is, I wanted to hound on it for a minute because the spot where you're going to see it is the main listing of deals. Once you go into the actual deal, the expire date's not there, but you do have all of the documents from the court. So in here, you're going to have all the pictures that are available on this one. This is obviously a fixer-upper, a fix and flip here, which I like to go after inside of bankruptcy myself. And I know Myles and Jay, that's one of their specialties too. So I thought this would be a great example for all of us to see. Price is $70,000. Any details that are given inside of the court are here for the attributes of the actual property. Obviously know that you can copy and paste this address and look in Zillow or Realtor and get all of the attributes and any other details you need. But it does show quite a bit of information just on this listing so that you understand what you're getting into. More importantly here, outside of the attributes of the deal, you've got the seller details. This is the contact. These are the trustees. These are the debtors. These are the attorneys that you're supposed to contact to be able to get involved into this deal. So if this is one of your areas, you're like, okay, I like New Orleans as a market. I like the price. I like that this thing looks like a nice rehab. So there should be the ARV should be really nice on this bad boy. So let's go through the process of how we dissect these deals. So from here, you're like, okay, initially, I like what I see. Let's start diving in, a little bit of due diligence. Now, outside of this, know that you can call the trustee. They may have a broker on hand that has a whole due diligence package on the property that they can hand over to you. This is just me manually doing some due diligence to see if I want to call the trustee to get involved. So that's what I'm going over today. But know that the trustee, the debtor, the bankruptcy court may have a nice package of due diligence to give to you, whether it's a rent roll, estimations on the rehab. They may have all those different things. So before you actually look for estimations on rehab or see what the rent is, that's when you call the trustee, and they may have all those details. If they don't, that's okay. That's what training is for. That's what Jay and Myles do. That's what we do too. Like, we know what we need to do to assess a property and what's needed to make it that ARV that you're looking for. So let's copy this address. Okay, so I'm copying the address. Again, you have it on the map down here, which is fine, but let's go and try to get more details on this property here. Okay, so he comes in here. You can go on any one of these realtors, Zillow, you name it. All of them are here. So let's go to Zillow. Shows the property. And again, in the trainings, as we know, which is a super powerful tool, 99% of these are pending, say off market, contingent. The regular market has no idea that these properties are being sold through bankruptcy. And that's one of the powerful tools of this software. So you can grab all the details on here. Looks like they have it for $80,000 here, but inside of the court, it looks like they have it for $70,000. So that's what this document tab is here. Let's verify what the court is actually selling this for so we understand what we're getting into. Again, and that also shows you Zillow and Realtor are automated softwares, right? They don't exactly get the right stuff all the time. So you always want to verify. Okay, here's the only document you're going to need inside of this case. This is 18 pages, like we've recommended over and over. Read through the entire thing. If you're just getting into the deal, you're welcome to just hit the highlighted points. Okay, so this is a Chapter 7 case. That means liquidation. They're liquidating this asset. Here's the address of it, just to confirm that it's there.
You gotta show that one. You switch over to the form because it's.
Sorry guys. Okay,
it's okay.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. Let me switch windows. Sorry.
It's all right, man.
Sorry, it's buffering. Just give me a second here. Yeah, we may have to restart just because of my I don't know why my computer's buffering. It's not letting me.
Yeah, you're frozen. So, well, we'll two.
All right, so we clicked on the document tab here, and it pops up here in the browser. This is the only court document that you're going to need to know. Now, this is 18 pages here. When you're fully invested in a case, we highly recommend you read through the entire thing so you know exactly what's going on. But for a short overview of what you want to see what's going on in the case, we have already highlighted the most pertinent information on this particular case. As we can see, for the purchase price of $70,000, so this one's selling for $70,000. It's an all cash transaction, which is fine. But if you notice, see, here's the difference. That's why we can't just base our stuff off of Zillow or Realtor or anything like that. Here they have it for $80,000 pending. Okay, so on the court case, it's $70,000. Let's see down here. Another one of the benefits when there's an offer that's submitted is it's all public knowledge. So if we keep scrolling through the court doc, we should also see a purchase sale agreement here. Let me just keep scrolling. Here we go. Here we go. One from Remax here. This is the buyer who's going to be buying this property, and it's going to say all the details of a sale. As we were saying in a previous video, never once in my career of real estate, and I've sold probably 1,500 to 2,000 single family homes over the last 8 years, have I ever been handed a purchase sale agreement that has been approved by a seller and say, hey, why don't you go ahead and base your offer off of this one? And if it makes sense financially for you and the ARV after the rehab, then perfect. So that's where it becomes very powerful. You can see all the details of the purchase agreement that has been accepted by the court. Now, if you remember, we had the expiration day of October 30th for this particular deal. So that means we have until October 30th to submit a higher and better offer than what has been approved by the court. And the court has, or the trustee has to provide that to the court and say, hey, I've got a higher and better offer. So again, this has all the details. I've seen a lot of purchase sale agreements have financing, show the deposit, obviously, what they put on here, the timeline for closing. You have all of those details inside of these purchase sale agreements. And that becomes very powerful when you're negotiating and you're getting ready to submit your own purchase sale agreement.
Absolutely. And even with this one, as you pointed out earlier, the bankruptcy court was selling it for 70. Zillow has it at 80, but the contract price is a whole nother number.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's why we always upload the contract price, right? I mean, obviously the contract price and what this document shows here is what has been approved by the court. So that's why it's so important to go through this document and read each line. Again, when you're initially starting your due diligence, that's fine. Just follow our highlighted stuff so you can get the high level stuff. But once you're ready and you're getting closer to dive in, make sure you read the entire thing, because there's going to be nuggets in here on this purchase sale agreement on this court doc that will help you in your negotiations, whether it's a higher non-refundable deposit, right? And then the same cash terms and buying it for $75,000 or $85,000 or whatever works for your numbers. Those small things make a huge difference when you're submitting offers based off an approved purchase sale agreement already.
And also, if I may just kind of jump in there, like this contract, this is a perfect example of what Brad, our resident legal beagle, was talking about in the training video about the legal documentation, when he was talking a little bit about the stocking horse bidder and things of that nature. The floor has been set here. Now, we know that the court would like to get 70, but this particular contract, the floor has been set at 60. So this would be the stocking horse bidder, if you will. And in that time period that you just mentioned for the expire date, someone could come in at 61, 62, 60, something higher than that offer right there, and potentially walk away with this deal in November.
That's right. That's right. And another thing to note is this purchase agreement, the reason why we provide you with a court-approved purchase agreement, and Brad went over that in the previous tutorial, is because in here, this broker or this realtor may or may not have given this buyer a stalking horse opportunity. They may not even have known about it. So you always want to be able to, that's why we have our own purchase sale agreements that have been approved by the court. And in there, there's a spot for, the overbid protection, basically, is what it's called. And that's the stalking horse bid, fee that you can get. And sometimes the courts say no to it, right? But a lot of these times the court doesn't even get that, or the buyer doesn't even know about the stalking horse opportunity. So if these guys in particular get overbid, guess what? They're not getting anything because they don't have the right purchase sale agreement. And that's another powerful piece of this whole thing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
All right. So now, as you guys probably already know, online on Zillow and Realtor, they don't really let you do a map view to be able to see what's happening around this property, but I did it on my phone. And this particular home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,300 square foot, a block away, I think right up here, is selling for $150,000. Now, we obviously need to see how big of a rehab is needed on this particular property, what it rents for, what you can rent it for, things like that, all the things that Jay and Myles are teaching you. But let's say there's 20,000 left over. You can do this, get out, which this is only 1,300 square feet. So I would say maybe 120,000 max if this thing is just completely slaughtered. And you've got 30,000 left over to be able to turn around and sell it after the rehab. So again, that was just estimates. I don't know the details on this particular deal. But that's where Jay and Myles training, you take that from here, you use their training, and you understand exactly what your highest and best offer can be, utilize the information that's given to you in the public court database, which is in this document. You call this seller, which is the trustee, and submit your purchase sale agreement. And there's a high likelihood that you're going to get it. Because a lot of these people who submit the first offer are submitting their highest and best offer, not fully understanding, like real estate experts like we are, following the training to know exactly the highest and best offer that you can submit to be able to get the right ARV and the profit per deal. So that's how you dissect a deal. And if you like it, and you don't have enough time to dissect the whole thing, or you're like, hey, I want to come back to it, you just hit this heart right here. It'll go over to your Save Deal tabs, which if I go over there, it should be right there. I think it's right down here. Sorry, guys, loading up a little slow. But it's right here for you to be able to get to it at any given time. Here's all the expiration dates of all these particular deals, and there's hundreds in here. And again, they change daily. So everything is being updated. If it gets past an expiry date, some of these deals are going off. So this is a very powerful tool. And if you utilize it correctly, coupled with the training from Jay and Myles, you're going to be able to get some great deals through here that others won't even have, number one, any idea that they're for sale. But any of those people who have put offers in, the likelihood of them understanding the training that you guys have, you're well above what they're providing.
That's right. That is right. So thank you, Garrett, for sharing that and explaining that and doing that breakdown in this training video. We will definitely be having more training videos for you guys, tutorials, if you will, because there really isn't a whole lot to be trained on in this software, okay? They have built this software to be as simple as possible, to save you the time, the effort, the money, and get right at these great bankruptcy deals now, where, again, you would have been doing months, literally months and months of work, reading hundreds and hundreds of pages of motions. And you would definitely be, not necessarily, you'd be doing legal work, and you don't want to do legal work because you're a real estate investor, okay? So they've taken that out of the equation and made it real simple for us to do. So I hate to call these training videos because there's really not much to be trained on. It's more tutorials of just how to navigate your way through it. So thank you for watching this one. Rewatch it over and over. Make sure you get your due diligence in so that you can put in the right kind of offers and that you're making the right, using the right verbiage when you're talking to the trustees and or lawyers. And let's make these deals happen. Let's get yourself some success, okay? This is your man, Myles. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you guys for these training videos, and we'll see you in the next tutorials. I got to get used to saying tutorials. All right. Thanks, guys.